Oh, 6'7"? Six.
Anyways, guys, it's not week 6 or 7, so yeah, we're just gonna do week 1, 2 power rankings here. Yeah, a lot of stuff happened in week 1. Does that really make a difference? We'll see. Yeah, here's your week 2 power rankings. And with that, what is going on? What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Fun NFL. Hope you guys, enjoy this. We're gonna be doing our week 2 power rankings. Our week 1 I think was a little bit over a week ago, but that really doesn't matter because it's power rankings. We have 1 week. 1 week is past kickoff week. Thankfully, there were a bunch of boring games, but there wasn't too much one-sided affairs, which is a good thing. We want some good football. We also got probably what will be the game of the year if I had to guess by the end of the season, which again we talked about in the Week 1 NFL highlight, which I do recommend you watch. It's basically the recap with all the highlights and all that. With that said, though, 1 through 32. If you watch the past one, it's not actually too similar. Again, I tend to somewhat overreact for Week 1. There's definitely be some big changes. I don't have like the actual statistics if like a team dropped that much, but still, 1 through 32. And again, this is gonna change week to week. It's not going completely bonkers because like. I don't know if you're like the freaking Raiders. I'm just picking on them for like random reasons. Say they're like 2-10. I don't know. They beat the Chiefs, and the Chiefs were like 12-0 for some reason. Like they blew them out somehow. I don't know. Crazy upset. They're not gonna go shooting up like 30 spots. It's not gonna be like that. No, we don't do that here. But with that said, the worst team in the NFL right now, who's my number 32 spot? Unfortunately, it's still the Saints. I loved how they played though. They went out and really played hard against the Cardinals. But just overall, they really weren't able to completely. Get back in that game after again. It wasn't like they got like they're getting blown out or anything. Again, they stayed close, but they weren't able to like completely get back with the Cardinals after again they got that field goal. I think it was going 17-10 if I'm not mistaken at that point. We're not trying to recap that game though. Saints defensively didn't look terrible, but like offensively they definitely were missing something. Again, Spencer Rattler, really tough end of that game, but still, if you're a Saints fan, again, your starting quarterback still searching for his first career win. It probably won't happen next week against the Niners. If I'm a Saints fan, I'm a little bit worried, but still, again, this is a team that you're not expecting to be very good, and the fact they were able to compete with the Cardinals this week, even though the Cardinals aren't a great team, is obviously a good sign there. Number 31, we do have the Tennessee Titans, who didn't really show me much of anything that I didn't expect. Their defense it was actually pretty good overall. They were very physical. They played hard. I think, and they forced a lot of turnovers. But again, not really. Usually 2 of the plays. Sean Payton didn't call a good game. But offensively, the O-line sucked as I expected. Not really the magnitude where, again, Cam Ward didn't really help things when he held on the ball. The receivers sucked, though. It was just a really terrible showing on offense, and I don't really see it changing, at least next week against the Rams. So I expect them to either be here or lower, depending on how that game goes. 30, we got the Panthers. They were about as dead of a team at the end of that game as any other team has been. Defensively, I think they put together a decent effort. Again, they weren't awesome again, especially against the run. Again, at times they definitely had their leakages, but it really didn't matter considering how that lifeless that offense was. Chuba Hubbard didn't get going. Bryce Young, especially on that last drive, it was just a complete like you rolled over it and died sort of thing. And until this offense really gets into any sort of like actual spark, I don't see how this team is going to really be competitive. And the fact that, again, that's just a scary thing to say, to be honest with you guys. And again, like I said, until things change, I don't really see how this team's going to really be even okay. Even though Bryce Young, I think, will be better than he played this week. 29, we have the Cleveland Browns. Cool. They played well against the Bengals, who always suck offensively the first couple weeks. Good job, I guess. Their defense is a talented group. I'll give them that. But offensively, I didn't really see much that I wasn't expecting. I knew Joe Flacco was going to run this offense pretty decently, but the turnovers were there. The woes on the kicking and just overall were there. And the fact, again, they don't have anyone else to throw to except Jerry Jeudy is a huge issue. And even the running game, which I think wasn't even that bad, is a massive, there's only so much they can do with that running game right now. And just the fact, again, this team is capped off for a lot of reasons. It's really just not going to really get them very far. We'll see what actually happens in terms of the quarterback situation. But again, if you're a Browns fan, it's not really looking too good. But at the same time, I'm just more mad at the fact they didn't take advantage against the Bengals team, which they definitely could have beat. At number 28, we have the Giants. The Giants' offense arguably was the worst this week, other than the Dolphins, obviously. But other than the fact that then they didn't get in the end zone and Russell Wilson looked really bad on a lot of plays. The fact that, again, they don't really have anyone else except Malik Neighbors getting open, and even that's a stretch. He didn't really get open too consistently in that one. It's just really bad. I will say, though, this they might want to fire Mike Kafka, who's been their OC since 2022. But their defense actually played pretty decently, so I'm not, again, too over the moon about how bad they're about that defense, but at the same time they definitely kept that game close. It was again a 1-score possession early in that fourth quarter with the team having with the offense having the ball, which they didn't do anything with. But yeah, until this offense, and not even until if this offense at any point is decent, I don't know, maybe they'll be better. But like yeah, this is just a team you can't really buy in now, especially with them going to Dallas next week. Not to actually think that Dallas is any monster, but still it doesn't look too great. 27 got the Patriots. The Patriots offense was atrocious this week. No one really did anything on offense except Keisha Booty. I will say Hunter Henry was okay, and again Trayvon Henderson wasn't completely terrible. O-line wasn't great defensively. Again, they gave up a bajillion yards without Christian Gonzalez there, and I don't know what they're trying to do in the secondary, but I don't like it. Mike Vrabel, I think, is a solid head coach, but the fact that the moves he's made this offseason are a little bit questionable, in my opinion, and I think that'll definitely continue to hamper their success. 26, we got the Jets. I'll just say three straight AFC East teams. Again, I want to put them higher, but their defense just didn't play well. I'm sorry. Cool, your offense looked great. You should be able to run the football pretty well this year. I think I was a little bit underestimating on how that actually would work out. They actually have really good personnel for that. Not again, I didn't think that going into the season was more of I don't actually think this will work considering that's all you can do. But Justin Fields had his best game passing in a long time. That was a beautiful touchdown to Garrett Wilson. But again, the fact their defense didn't show up for like 3.5 for most of that game or at times in that game is really scary because again, this defense is gonna have to be good if this team's gonna compete this year. 25, we got the Dolphins. They had the worst performance out of every team in week 1. Only game that was actually a true blowout. It was 30-0 at one point. Tua was absolutely awful. No one did anything on offense. Patrick Paul was an absolute turnstile there. And on defense, they simply didn't stop the Colts whatsoever. They might have bended a little bit and didn't break completely at times. But when does that really matter when your offense is that bad? This defense is going to be a lot better next week. And that was, again, probably the most lifeless outside of the Panthers' offense in the fourth quarter performance I saw from any team this week. It was very pathetic. If they play anything close to that this week against Patriots, they're going to be dropping a lot farther. The reason I didn't do that is because it was 1 week, and, 1 week is 1 week. 24. Again, a lot can happen in the week. I'll say that, though. We got the Bears. Cool. They were good for 3 quarters. Your offense didn't really pick it up at any point in the second half. They scored, again, outside of that garbage time touchdown, they scored 10 points. Like, how are you going to win games like that? Caleb Williams doesn't really look any better. It's just a lot of issues that I don't really know if they're going to actually be changed. Ben Johnson, I don't think called a great game. It wasn't a bad game, though, because he got receivers open, unlike last year with Shane Waldron and whoever the heck else they trotted out there at OC. Not really, because, again, no one actually went out there. But still, it was a little bit better. But Ben Johnson, I think, could definitely do a lot better next week, especially against the susceptible Lions defense. At number 23, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Cool. They beat the freaking Panthers. I don't really care, to be honest with you guys. Jaguars do not care that you won this game. Trevor Lawrence looked pedestrian at times, and overall just didn't really make any big plays. The running game looked actually like it was pretty fun. Again, they just traded Tank Bigsby as well, so that's pretty fun. But again, overall, this Jags performance wasn't really anything of note. I will say their defense played well, though. 22, we have the Colts. Again, like I said, biggest, best, most surprising performance from week 1, Indiana Jones. We all know about that. But, yeah, their offense was insanely efficient. I'm just shocked at how well they played. But, outside of the fact, again, their offense was way too efficient than it'll probably be all season. Their defense still wasn't, again, they were obviously really good. But I think it was more of the Dolphins' issues than them actually being really good. Don't expect this level of play really at all for the rest of the season from the Colts defense. I, again, don't see it at all. But again, at the same time, their safety's balled out, so we'll see what happens there. 21, we got the Raiders. Cool. You're not, I keep saying that. Honestly, I don't even care at this point. Cool. Geno Smith can throw the football. We all knew that. Cool. You can't run the ball with Ashton Jeanty. That's actually not cool. They got to figure out how to do that because that's what this offense will find an identity. On top of that, their defense wasn't amazing. Again, I understand that, again, the Patriots offense was bad. That means the defense was amazing. Not necessarily, especially from what I saw in this game. But at the same time, they played a decent game overall. 20, Seahawks. Yeah, that was just a frustrating game for me to watch. I don't like Seahawks at all. Again, usually I'd be happy with this outcome. But the fact, again, they had so many opportunities to win that game, and just JSN was the only guy really doing anything on offense. And the O-line actually wasn't even too bad. And then, again, defensively, they had, again, their woes at times. It's just not something you want to see, again, in a Week 1 game. Even though, again, realistically, they were just getting their kinks out. It wasn't a terrible performance overall from that team, but, yeah, they got to see more next week if they want to have a shot at, beating the Steelers. 19, we got the Cowboys. Yeah, that was just, I don't know. Dak played really well from what I saw. Again, the receivers overall were lacking in terms of overall depth on the routes. I think that was a big thing to note of. Running game was obviously crap. Again, Javonte Williams shark 2 touchdowns. I talked more about this with the O-line on Thursday. Was it Friday? My bad. And then defensively, I mean, they didn't play that bad really at all. Again, I understand they gave a lot of yardage in terms of rushing, but it really wasn't even that bad. So Cowboys, encouraging performance, but I don't know. You're just not really striking me considering this team again. They could have won that game. They just didn't. 18 Falcons. I want to put them lower, but realistically, they don't deserve to be there because again, they're still a talented team. Drake London, I honestly think was the reason they lost this because he got injured, not again him specifically. But honestly, again, Michael Penix looked really solid. I'm not going to try to hype on it, jump on anything, but again, that wasn't a terrible Bucs secondary. The fact he was still able to put up some decent numbers and play really well, I think it was pretty. Again, you got to acknowledge that. Defensively, though, they weren't bad. They looked actually a lot more. They looked transformative. If that actually is going to change anything, we'll see. But yeah, Falcons. I like what I saw out of you guys in Week 1, despite the unfortunate ending. 17 got the Cardinals. They took care of business. They just look like a sound football team. Again, I understand offensively they were a little bit all over the place, but that should be what you see in Week 1. Again, I understand it was also against the Saints, but I think I had them similar tier as well. And this is just a team I think is a decent roster. But the fact again that overall we don't really see how good they're going to be for a couple weeks. I'm probably have to keep them there. 16. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals. We all know their offense was going to struggle in Week 1. That wasn't really a big thing, but everyone was like, oh, how good their defense was. I mean, yeah, DJ turned out a much better, surely starting the season they had all of last year. But that really doesn't matter considering it was against the Browns. I don't know, guys. The Bengals, they won, cool. But at the same time, I'm like, what does that really mean? It was against the Browns. Like, win next week, I guess. 15. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, that was not overall the performance you would have wanted. I mean, I understand Aaron Rodgers threw four touchdowns, but like, how much can you really take with that? And again, on top of the fact that again, this is a team that at least defensively failed in a lot of ways. Again, schematically, they got diced up. That's really the just truth about that. They weren't good against the run, which again is gonna be a huge issue late in the season if that's actually gonna develop. I don't think it will because the Jets are actually a competent team in terms of running the football. But offensively, even they weren't really moving the ball that consistently. And again, the fact that is gonna probably continue is going to hurt them against better teams, especially in Seahawks this week. They're going to have to be better there. If they're able to do that, I think they have definitely a good shot at winning. But until that changes, not too confident in that, especially with how that running game looked. We'll get more in the O-line again for their preview, for their prediction and preview. But other than that, defensively, again, definitely some concerns overall. But again, it was just one game, so I won't go too crazy about it. But I'm not any really different on the Steelers, even though again a lot happened in that game. 14, we got the Niners. Yeah, cool. You were bailed out by your third string tight end. Your quarterback isn't a chicken. We'll be the PG there. And their defense was overall pretty good. They took advantage of the opportunities. That's what they should be able to do. I don't know what to tell you guys. Be better next week against the Saints. Please, blow them out or something. I don't want to keep the Saints fans hoping. I don't know. 13, Vikings. Cool. Your quarterback is not that good. Cool. Yeah. Great fourth quarter. I don't know. Again, we talked about more of the Monday Football Recap. Go get into that. But Vikings, I was encouraged what I saw from that defense. But honestly, offensively, they got a lot of stuff to work on until that, again, becomes a consistent group. I don't see how this team's really going to compete against good teams. We'll see how they play against Falcons, so that'll be an interesting matchup. 12, we got the Texans. Yeah, I didn't really learn anything different than from what I was expecting, similar to the Titans, but in a better way. Because I knew that defense was really freaking good coming into the game, specifically their secondary. And even Derek Stingley, kind of being sore on the hip, he still played phenomenal, obviously, because he's one of the best cornerbacks in football. But that entire defense was really good in this one. I think that was part of the reason the Rams obviously didn't score any points, again, for a while there. But outside of that, I don't know. Their offense kind of was just yeah, we don't have our offensive line, so we're just going to kind of stink it up. But I will say they moved the ball pretty well overall, considering their issues. But at the same time, they still weren't good at all. So Texans, be better next week on offense. Beat the Bucs, I guess. 11, we got the Lions. Yeah, that was really just lifeless. Not lifeless, my bad. That was really not good. Again, they really weren't creative on offense. I don't want to try to stress that too much because it was one game, and there were a lot of plays where, again, you really couldn't have done too much differently. But there were a lot of situations at the same time where I'm like, why aren't you running a different concept here? That would have worked better. But I'm not trying to play armchair quarterback. Jared Goff wasn't completely bad. Isaac Tesla, I'm just going to call him Tesla, was actually had a really nice touchdown, get him on the field a little bit more. Defensively, they actually weren't too awful, but at the same time, with your offense not really doing too much and the fact you got dominated, it just wasn't a really good performance. At 10, I got the Commanders. I didn't really learn much at all from this Commanders performance. I don't know. They have decent defense now. Cool. But the offense, that, there was so much left on the meat left on the bone in that sense. And again, I don't know how much that's gonna really change. I don't really care because again, they beat the Giants. So you should beat the Giants. Again, I didn't have you winning this one. I saw an upset happening, but the fact that the Giants' offense wasn't good at all didn't really show me much again for the Commanders. They're definitely a decent team, but how much does that really matter when you just I don't know, you just kind of were out there winning. Number 9. We got the Broncos. Their offense was super concerning for me, but their defense is better than the Commanders. That's really what I see there. There's definitely a huge ceiling for them. Again, I get it was against the Titans, but still, that defense completely took over that game at like a multitude of points. And the fact again, Bo Nix really sucked was that's probably what kept them in that game. Very bizarre play calling from not even bizarre, just bad play calling from Sean Payton at times. I'm not gonna act like I would have called the greatest game either, but yeah, that was just not a really good display there, as well as the fact that yeah, if they don't play better next week, they could lose to the Colts too. Number 8, we got the Bucks. It wasn't a good win, but it was a win. I'll say that. Explosive plays are definitely an issue for this defense. I think that'll really tone down as they get a little bit more in sync. But the fact again they didn't have Tristan Wirfs in the O-line was a big issue. Baker definitely struggled a little bit. Again, no Chris Godwin's also an issue. But hats off to Emeka Egbuka. He could be on his way to a Rookie of the Year campaign if all things go as planned. Number 7, give me the Los Angeles Chargers. That was a really, really good win. I'm not going to act like that's something that'll happen too consistently versus the Chiefs, but they just put together a complete game, very solid performance, especially from Justin Herbert, of course. On top of the fact that defense just, again, they hit the Chiefs and the Alex, again, a lot, and just, again, the fact that again, the Chiefs didn't really have much of a running game as well. I think they just again, took advantage of all of it. Really solid, well-rounded victory. Number 6, I got the Chiefs. I was not a fan of how the Chiefs played this one out. I understand that Xavier Worthy was injured, and again, the receiving core was kind of like a little. It was not Rashid Rice too. It was a little bit of a weak link for them. But you got to get someone else other than Hollywood Brown to step up. I understand Hollywood Brown's a vet and he can make those plays, but no one else really did much of anything to really prove anything about this receiving core other than the fact that they're not deep, and that could be a target for the Eagles next week. The Chiefs are a very real possibility starting 0-2, but with them being in the home opener, I expect them to come out and play a really good game, especially on defense after a pretty not good showing in week 1. Again, kind of weird game in Sao Paulo, but if you're a Chiefs fan, it's like, yeah, we got to figure out what to win this one. It's not a must win against the Eagles, but again, you don't want to start out 0-2 because, again, they've never started out 0-2 with Mahomes. Number 5, I got the Packers. I'm still not really sold on them. I understand they had a really nice performance against the Lions, really well-rounded in a lot of ways. Their offense still wasn't like that consistent. And again, the defense looked really good, sure, but like against these really good running games, I don't really. Again, the Lions obviously have a very good running game, but I don't know. There's just some teams that I look at, I'm like, I don't know if those Packers teams are really like shut them down like they were able to the Lions. We'll see what happens though, because that was a very good performance. Number 4, give me the Rams. Just for the fact that I don't think offensively they really did anything. Again, they obviously didn't have a bad game, but there were still some plays where I'm like, yeah, that could have been better. I think Craig Rolls had a little bit of an influence on that. But the fact that this defense was probably the best performing in week 1 out of any team. They held the Texans out of the end zone. They were just absolutely dominant. I mean, other than I guess the Colts. But yeah, the Rams, their defense like was the like put the onus on them sort of thing in this one. Offensively, yes, you'd want to see more, but like at the same time, I'm not like too concerned about that. Number 3. Give me the Ravens. I honestly don't care that they like blew that lead. That was a team that looked, again, I understand, for like 80% of that game, like they were the best team in the NFL, and it wasn't even close. But again, we look at that again. The blown lead at the end, the defense just completely collapsing was just something you just never see. So the fact again that did happen was a little bit of a, oh my God, what did we just see sort of thing. But again, with it being that good of a game and the fact that the Ravens still played at an insanely high level for most of the way is still a good thing. But at the same time, I got to share their defense. Like, that defense, that was inexcusable. But at the same time, like, guys, that was an amazing performance by both teams overall. Even though, again, the Ravens obviously, like, blew the lead. I'm not going to go too gung-ho over that. It was week 1, and that game was just great overall. Both teams played phenomenal. Eagles are at 2. Offensively, Jalen Hurts is not even a top. I said this before. He's not a top 16 passer in the NFL. Didn't really show me anything different in that one. Again, good deep ball to Jahan Dotson, I guess. Running game, though, wasn't really even that great. O-line still has some kinks to work out. But again, look at that defense. They look really good. It's just the fact, again, that they can be consistent there. Yeah, Eagles, they play, again, as I expected them to. But they're going to be at 2 because the Bills are at 1 because they proved something that a lot of other teams just simply don't have the ability to prove. That's the fact that they have one of the biggest margins for error in the entire NFL. It's not, again, 95% of it's the fact they have Josh Allen, but they just proved against one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the NFL, that we have Josh Allen. We don't care how many points we're down by. Again, I understand that, again, 9 times out of 10, they're not able to do what they were able to do against the Ravens, but we're still able. We have a chance to win this game. We can make like 10 mistakes in a row. We still have a shot to win it. It's just like, you can't, it's very rare for an NFL team to be able to do that. Even the Eagles, I don't think would be able to do that because, again, Jalen Hurts isn't an elite passer by any means. He's not even like top half of the starting quarterback league. passer. So it's just so rare when you find a team like that. I think this is definitely going to be a big trademark for the Bills. Obviously, they're not going to want to be in those situations very consistently, but if they do get into it, I think they're a team that's going to be very, very hard to stop because of that. But at the same time, it really doesn't matter until they play the Chiefs. With that said, that's all I got for, again, the playoffs. That's all I got for you, Week 2 Power Rings. Hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down section below your agreements and your disagreements about all this. Sorry to be so academic. Is that the right word for use it? Anyway, yeah. Thursday football tomorrow. Prediction coming, yeah.
And here we go. Yeah, Chris definitely going to be one of the targets that we were going to see out of Kevin Jennings, the junior, behind center. And he'll throw on the first down, way over the